Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is finally time to recap all of the movies that I have seen in the first quarter of 2026. If you don't know, the year is always split into 4 quarters because there's 12 months, and the first quarter is usually where the worst movies of the year come out just for marketing reasons. So, to be honest with you, the first quarter of 2026 has been pretty bad and is one of the worst first quarters I've had in a long time with movies. But regardless, I have seen 36 films in this quarter of the year, and I'm going to be ranking all of them from the worst to the best. So, if you're new around here and you don't know, I'm trying to watch every 2026 movie that I can, eventually with the goal of ranking all of them at the end of the year. Right now, my goal is to at least break 100, which is pretty easy, maybe even 150, and making a video on that is going to be outrageous, but it's going to be a lot of fun, so let's just lock in and let's talk about all 36 of these movies I watch now. Coming in at number 36 is going to be Luc Besson's Dracula. This is a bad movie. It is almost a reheated Nachos moment where it basically just takes everything that Robert Eggers did with Nosferatu and adapts it into a slightly different medium of being just a bit more low budget and then calls it a day. On top of that, Luc Besson is a director, or Luc Besson, or whatever you want to call him, is a director that is not a very good person. If you don't know anything about him, look him up, do your own research. I'm not here to talk about that kind of stuff, but he's not a very good person, and that doesn't fare very well for this movie. I try and leave a lot of controversy out of this stuff, but there are some times where it just can't happen. And in this case, not only is the movie pretty bad, but that does negatively impact my views on this film as well. So, Dracula is basically just almost like a just one-for-one copy of Nosferatu, which is an infinitely better movie, and this one is coming in at the very bottom of the list at number 36. At number 35, a movie that I thought was just a little bit better than Dracula is going to be The Mortuary Assistant. This is the adaptation of the video game. It was a Shudder original that went to theaters for like a week during Valentine's weekend and then disappeared off the face of the earth. And I think it's on Shudder now. If you are bored one day and you're looking for a movie to watch, don't pick this one because it is not worth your time. This is a classic case of a movie trying to adapt a game that has multiple endings, and it takes all of those endings and puts way too much on its plate, and then it fails in every single regard to satisfy all of those needs from that plate. So what you get is basically just a disgusting Frankenstein's monster of multiple different endings and ideas that don't really mesh together from the game. And on top of that, the writing quality just isn't good enough to sustain interesting characters, so all of the moments that should be scary or unique or interesting come across very corny and cringe, and all of the charm of the game, all of the best moments from the game, all of the good jump scares, all of the good tension and moments, all of that gets completely left on the cutting board and not even in the final film. There are some things that I like. I like the cinematography, but I don't like the color grading. I somewhat like the 2 lead actors, but I think that their performances are very bad because the movie has a bad script. So for every one good thing, there's always some kind of counteractive negative to the film, and all of those counteractive negatives stack up to an amount that is insufficient to make this movie good. So this is a bad movie. It is not worth your time, and definitely skip out on Mortuary Assistant. Coming in at number 34 is going to be The Strangers Chapter 3, and this movie is a continuation of terrible, terrible movies. If it wasn't so plainly generic, it may get a few points up just because it's something unique, but just like its predecessors, this movie is painfully generic, and that is really what puts it so low. You can make a generic slasher film, but you can't do it to one that has somewhat of an idealistic principle. In The Strangers and The Strangers Prey at Night, the big principle, and the reason it's called The Strangers, is because you never see the face of the 3 killers hunting down the main characters. And so Rennie Harlin decided to take that franchise and give the 3 strangers a backstory for some unknown reason, and it doesn't work. The backstory does not work. There are weird plot holes that make no sense. You get very, very vague answers to questions you probably didn't even have when you watch the first or the second or the third movie. and nothing really amounts to anything in this franchise. The ending is extremely predictable. It doesn't do anything new, it doesn't do anything interesting, and it's not really high budget or high quality writing wise either, so it has nothing going for it, and it goes at the bottom of the list, just like The Strangers Chapter 2 last year and The Strangers Chapter 1 years ago. Coming in at number 33 is going to be Vampires of the Velvet Lounge. This is a low-budget vampire flick with some decent B-movie actors in it, but they cannot save this movie. It kind of gives off the War of the Worlds charm, where it is so laughably silly that there is some fun to be had, but it's not as fun in the case of War of the Worlds, where you have Ice Cube and doing his zoom cam and stuff like that. Instead, you have vampires and bad acting, and there are a lot of fun, cute moments that are hilariously terrible that are worth watching this movie with friends just so you can laugh at it. Like a character that constantly says his name over and over again is hilarious. But at the end of the day, this is a movie that I will never think of again, whereas War of the Worlds, even though it's absolutely atrocious, is a movie that I will continue to think about moving forward with my life. So it's just not a very good movie. It's not worth watching if you're not going to watch it with friends who like fun, bad movies. There's nothing really good about it, so this one's also a skip. Coming in at number 32, my biggest disappointment of the year is going to be Return to Silent Hill. This movie fails to not only be an adaptation, but it fails to be a good movie. Christoph Gans made a 2006 Silent Hill film that was kind of forgotten about for a long time and became a bit of a cult classic in the last, I would say 5-10 years. It got a sequel 6 years after it came out that was critically dumped on the audience dumped on it, said it was terrible, and it is terrible. It's a terrible sequel. But the first movie was always looked at relatively fondly in hindsight, and Christoph Gans, the director of that film, came back to do another film to adapt the second game. And this film was left on the shelf for 5 years from what I heard, is that they couldn't get a distributor for it because the budget was too low, and also the movie ran for too long, so it was a low budget movie that had way too long of a runtime, or something like that. I could be wrong about that, but some issue like that. And nobody would pick it up, and then finally Shudder picked it up. They pushed it out into theaters. I think it was Shudder or Screambox, one of the two. They finally pushed it out into theaters, and it was bad. It's bad. Christoph Gans fails to adapt any of the nuance or intricacies of Silent Hill 2 in any fascinating way. He takes the wrong approach to the film in general by confusing Silent Hill 2 as a love story rather than a story about grief. It's bad. It doesn't really work at all. For every one cool thing that Christoph Gans does do with the film, there's a million other things that are done wrong. For example, I like the idea of giving James and Mary some backstories to give a little bit more reasoning for James doing what he's doing. That's not a bad idea. I like that on paper, because in the game, you don't really have a reason to go save Mary other than she's your wife. That is good enough reasoning for the game, and the game does a good job justifying it as you play it, but I don't like the idea on paper of giving them some backstory. However, instead of doing that as just a thing in the film, Christoph Gans takes that as kind of the backbone of the film, and the movie doesn't even open up with the iconic bathroom scene. Instead, that happens 15 minutes into the movie, and instead we open up with how James and Mary met. And it's really cringe, it's really corny, it doesn't work. And then there's also moments where you find out that Mary's not even is a part of a Silent Hill cult. They're not even married in this movie, and it keeps stacking up over and over again to a point where it gets annoying and just obnoxious. And this movie is bad. It is a bad everything. So this one is an easy skip in my opinion. I have a much longer review of this movie if you would like to check that out. But as it stands, this is a bad movie. Coming in at number 31 is going to be a bit of a hot take from me, and that is going to be Charlie XCX's The Moment. Before I get into my critiques of this movie, because I didn't have a video on this one, I do want to give a huge shout out to Charlie XCX. It takes a lot of willpower, a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy to make a movie. And for all of the people who hated on The Weeknd's movie last year, I want you to take into account just how much effort went into that film, especially considering it's connected to a bigger multimedia project. And I want to appreciate Charlie XCX here and say that it is a very talented work of art that she has created. But much like The Weeknd's movie from last year, where if you didn't know anything about The Weeknd, you didn't like the movie. I don't really like Charlie XCX. I don't like her persona. I don't really know anything about her as a person. And therefore, this movie, to me, is bad. I just don't like it. If you got something out of it, if you're a big fan of Charlie XCX, I can totally see you enjoying this movie a lot more than I did. But on a fundamental level, I think that this movie doesn't really add anything interesting to the conversation of, like, death to the big elites, death to the elite, or bring down Amazon, anything like that. I don't think it adds anything in that regard, especially considering you can rent this movie on Amazon Prime. It just doesn't really add anything in that regard. I don't think it's very comedically entertaining either. I don't think there's anything visually all that entertaining, and I don't think the acting performances are all that grand, other than Alexander Skarsgård, who is fine in this movie. Other than that, I don't think there's anything super grand or incredible about it, but like I said, if you're a Charlie XCX fan, maybe you got something out of this that I didn't, just like how I got something out of the Hurry Up Tomorrow last year that you probably didn't get, so I understand. It's totally a fan thing, and I'll let you all have that one, so that's what my thoughts are on it, but maybe you like it better than I do. Coming in at number 30 is going to be Psycho Killer, another very disappointing movie for me. Written by the guy who wrote Seven. Don't even know how that's possible, because this movie is the exact antithesis, in my opinion, to Seven. It is a very corny, very on the nose, very ridiculous and silly slasher film. It is the lowest Rotten Tomatoes debut, I think, definitely this year, but maybe of all time, with it debuting at a 0%. And it's well-deserved. This movie is disappointing. It's embarrassing that it's made by the writer of Seven, that this movie was even put to film. There are moments in here that are laughably terrible. It's not in a War of the Worlds kind of way either. It's in a way that there's really nothing redeeming about the movie, and I would never watch it again. I would never like to think about it again, and it's easily a skip. And it's disappointing too, because Georgina Campbell is an actress that, with given the right material, can be pretty good. She's great in Barbarian. She's given really strong material because Zach Cregger is a good writer. But here, she's not given really anything to do, and it comes across like she's a bad actress because she's not given any good material. So it's a bad movie. It's unfortunate that it is, but it is a bad movie. Coming in at number 29 is going to be a movie that is also going to have a rabid fan base for it, but I just did not get any ounce of appreciation for, and that is Forbidden Fruits. And I am not the target audience for this movie. I know that. I knew that going into it, and I was still relatively excited to go check it out just because I thought it would be entertaining, and I was not really entertained at all. I thought this movie was way too on the nose, way too over the top, kind of boring in some areas, and just in general wasn't a very fun watch. If you are the target audience for this movie, which you might be, you'll probably get a kick out of it that I didn't get, but it's really just not my thing. It never was going to be my thing, and I just in general didn't really like it on any level, in any regard. It's just not my thing. So maybe there's somebody out there who will love it, but it wasn't me. Coming in at number 28 is going to be our first movie that I'm going to deem dad slop. The category of your dad will watch this movie and he'll have a good time with it because he just doesn't really do the highbrow films, and that is Greenland 2 Migration. I don't really hate this movie. It's basically just a rehash of the first movie, but a few years in the future. There's really nothing new about it compared to the first one, compared to other disaster movies. It is pretty much just the first movie again. And that's fine. I think the ending is serviceable. The content of the movie is serviceable. It's just not very good, so it goes at number 28. Similarly is our next dad slop movie at number 27, and that is The Wrecking Crew. This is a straight to Amazon Prime, pretty bottom of the barrel action film. It is one of my least favorite action films that I've seen in the last few years, just because it doesn't really do anything all that crazy. I think that Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa are okay. They're fine in this movie. The action is pretty PG-13, kind of bland, generic, which is disappointing. It sucks even more because the dialogue is so gritty and rated R that you would think the action would be up there too, but no, it's not. The action's very PG-13, very bland, and it's just disappointing. It's just not very good. Very similar to Greenland 2, where I don't really have a lot of thoughts on it. It's just not a very good movie. So Not worth your time, but maybe you want to add it to your list, I don't know. At number 26 is going to be Mercy, the Chris Pratt AI movie. My roommate really did not like this movie. In fact, I would say he hated this movie. He thought that Chris Pratt was overacting the whole movie, that the plot was very bland and boring. I didn't really think that. I thought this movie was an infinitely better movie than War of the Worlds. I thought Chris Pratt delivered a decent acting performance. I thought Rebecca Ferguson was pretty good as an AI. I do hate the pro-AI message that this movie gives at the very end for some reason. But other than that, there's not really a lot to hate about this movie. It's just kind of below par. It's just It's just okay. It's not bad, it's watchable, it's fine. I don't know why it's marketed like an action movie when Chris Pratt doesn't even get to really use a gun at all in this movie, but it's dad slop at the very end of the day, so there's that. At number 25 is going to be Twisted. This is the Darren Lynn Bousman film. If you don't know who Darren Lynn Bousman is, he is the director of Saw, like 3 through 6 or something like that. He directed 4 of the Saw movies. And it's very clear this is directed by a guy who directed the Saw movies. He very much flaunts that kind of flair in this movie, and it's not good either. The worst part about this movie is the directing and the script, but the best part about this movie is Djimon Hounsou and Lauren Levira. Both of them are fantastic and take what would be otherwise a terrible, terrible script to a much, much better level. They are both fantastic in this movie, and it's crazy too because it's so low budget and the script is so bad, but they are able to take what would otherwise be a bottom of the barrel 1-star movie to be a 2-star just because they are such good actors. I really enjoy what they do with this film. It's pretty predictable, it's pretty on the nose, but the two of them are good and it carries the movie a lot for me. Coming in at number 24 is going to be Jason Statham's Shelter. Jason Statham is basically his own genre at this point. If you've seen one Jason Statham movie, you've probably seen all of them. This movie is definitely better than Working Man from last year. I thought that movie was a very, very bland, kind of boring action movie. This one definitely has a little bit more character to it. There's a little bit more going on. You're not watching Jason Statham use like working man tools, even though he doesn't even do that in that movie. You're actually watching him do some other interesting stuff, so there's a little bit more character to this movie. I think the plot's a little bit more interesting, but it is definitely just a Jason Statham dad slop movie at the end of the day, and that's pretty much all it is. So it's fine, it's tolerable, it's just not very good. Alright, we're getting into the actually interesting stuff. Coming in at number 23 is going to be Cold Storage. This is kind of like a Stranger Things zombie outbreak movie. It is definitely the worst of the zombie movies I've seen this year, and I've shockingly seen a lot of them this year. But Joe Keery doesn't really get a lot of material. Georgina Campbell doesn't really get a lot of material. Liam Neeson doesn't get a lot of material. None of the big stars really get that much good material to work with in this movie. And it doesn't really do anything interesting in any other capacity to really carry it. Sosie Bacon's in this movie for like 15 minutes, which is kind of disappointing, but it's okay, it's fine, it's watchable. I saw this in theaters the opening weekend and thought it was decent. Don't know why it came out on Valentine's Day, but it's solid, it's fun, it can be a good time if you give it some time to kind of warm up after the first act, but it's just okay. It's a fine movie, and it's watchable. At number 22 is going to be Whistle. This is the kind of Final Destination-esque movie, but instead you have an Aztec death whistle. There is some interesting kills here. They do a lot with in the kill department, especially once you get past the opening act hurdle. You get a lot of interesting kills, and it definitely pans out to be worth your time. It is better than Final Destination 4, which I think is the worst of the Final Destination movies, so it has that going for it. If you like Final Destination, you'll definitely get a kick out of this one. I think Daphne Keane is pretty good here. Not much to say other than that. It's solid, it's a fine movie, and it's watchable. At number 21 is going to be the Hulu original Mike and Nick and Alice. This is the Vince Vaughn, James Marsden leading Hulu original. Just came out about a week ago now, I think, and it's quite fun. Vince Vaughn does a little bit here. He's not given too much material with one of his characters, but his other character gets a lot of material. James Marsden's pretty good. I can't think of the leading female actress, but she's also pretty good in this movie. So they get a lot of material to the three three leads, and they do a decent job with their material they're given, but the script is a little bit generic other than the time travel aspect, which does help the movie a lot. And for the most part, this is not a movie that I would go out of your way to watch if you're dying to find a movie to watch. But it's okay. It's perfectly fine. It's serviceable, and I'm glad that I watched it at least. Coming in at number 20 is going to be Night Patrol, a movie that I thought I was going to hate a lot more, but I thought it was just okay. It was just a fine movie. Night Patrol, you've got Justin Long and Freddie Gibbs delivering a really good acting performance, actually. However, I am in a camp where I believe Dermot Mulroney is not a good actor. I do not like him in this movie. I've never liked him really in any movie that he's in, but especially this movie, I think he's one of the big no's here. But other than him, I think Justin Long and Freddie Gibbs deliver good performances. The other actors are pretty decent. The movie does do a little bit of over-the-top stuff with the action and the language and the gore, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just really depends. I like the plot of having like an elite task force of cops that are secretly vampires. I think that's a cool angle to take this film, but it just doesn't really amount to anything, and by the end of the film you have a lot more questions than answers. So it's a little bit of a caveat, but it's a fine movie. If you like the concept and you think you'd enjoy it, then it's worth your time. So go check that one out if you're interested. Coming in at number 19 is going to be War Machine, the Netflix original film. I would call this the kind of dad slop premium, where there is a lot of good stuff to enjoy in terms of the quality of the movie, because it is still a Netflix movie, and Netflix, say what you will about Netflix, they do at least put in a lot of money to their movies. Sometimes that means it's going to be even worse, like with The Electric State last year, but in this case, there's enough money put into this movie that you know it's at least going to be watchable. It does come across like a bit of just like a join the military PSA announcement, which, I mean, I guess if you want to call it propaganda, yeah, it kind of is. But it's still, watchable. Like, it's not the worst movie ever made. It might be the most American movie ever made, and that's cool, I guess. But it's a fun time. If you want to watch Alan Ritchson go up against a big robot, especially after he just, got into that fight with his neighbor, then maybe you'll get something out of it. It's fun. It's kind of like Transformers and Predator had a baby, but it's a little bit more generic than both of those movies, so yeah, it's fun. It can be fun at times, and it's premium dad slop, as I would call it, coming in at number 19. At number 18, I think this is our last streaming movie, thank God, because I am tired of streaming movies, and that is The Rip. This is definitely the best of the streaming movies, mainly because you have Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Steven Yeun, three very, very good actors who are carrying this movie, so that helps a lot. You've also got a decent little plot setup of Miami cops that are struggling with kind of like rats in the police force, and they're trying to catch them. So they come across all this money and they got to use it. It's a good little plot setup, and it's just a solid crime thriller. It's not incredible. It's not the greatest movie ever made, but if you like the lead actors and you like the plot setup, you might have a fun time with it. And it is the best streaming movie I've seen thus far this year. So there's that. Coming in at number 17 is going to be Primate, the ape horror movie directed by Johannes Roberts, I think is his name. And it's pretty good. It's solid. I like all of Johannes' other movies. I really like his Resident Evil movie. I know that's a hot take, but I really enjoy that movie. I think it's the best Resident Evil live-action movie by far. I enjoy his Strangers movie. I think it's the best of the Strangers franchise. So, going into this movie, I knew I liked the director. I just was kind of worried about the concept, but after watching it, it's solid. It's just a solid movie. It's fine. The practical effects are really good and are probably the biggest thing to gush about. The directing is also quite solid. The score is very, very good. Some very John Carpenter-esque scoring going on, which is very fun. And overall, it's just a solid little slasher flick. If you like horror movies, it's worth putting on your list just so you can have experienced it. Coming in at number 16 is a movie that a lot of other people will enjoy a lot more than me, but that is going to be The Plague. Once again, just not the target audience for this one. I like the concept. I think the filmmaking is very, very solid, but it's not one of those movies that is necessarily life-changing. If you were somebody who was bullied during your middle school, going into high school years, if you're someone who kind of reminisces a lot about those years of your life, or you're somebody who struggled during those years of your life, or you are in those years of your life, then this movie will absolutely resonate with you in a way that it never did with me. And all power to you. If you get some kind of powerful resonation with those feelings to this movie, and you want to put it at the very top of your list. I mean, my roommate, for example, he loved this movie and put it really, really high. And this, unlike other movies on the list, is one that I will not argue with anyone about. If you have this up at the top, if you have this up at the bottom, wherever you put it, no argument from me, because this is totally a personal connection kind of movie. I've had a lot of time to think about it because it was one of the first movies I saw this year, and that's really how I feel about it. I think on an artistic level, it is really solid, but on a plot level, it just depends on how much you resonate with it personally. So, goes in at number 16. At number 15 is going to be another hot take, because I did say that Luc Besson's movie was very low on my list for controversy, which I try to exclude a lot of controversy when I talk about things. I don't like to go in detail about that. I don't like that to muddle my opinion, and I feel like it's a little bit different when it comes down to the studio being the problem and a singular person being the problem. Dracula has the benefit, the non-benefit, of being just a bad movie on its own. And here we have Scream 7 at number 15, where this movie is fine. It's a fine movie that has a lot of really, really bad behind-the-scenes drama coinciding with it that is going to make people hate it a lot more than I do. I do not support or condone anything to do with this movie and the way that it was made. I think firing the two lead actresses is the worst decision that they've ever made with this franchise. I think a lot of the choices they made behind the scenes are terrible, but I can't deny this movie is fine. It's watchable. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Is it the worst of the franchise? Oh, absolutely. In every regard it is, but it is not the worst movie I've ever seen. And as somebody who Scream is their favorite horror franchise, I do hate that this is the worst, and I don't want to, bash it just because, I don't I don't feel like bashing the movie because it doesn't really deserve that in terms of the quality of it. It just is okay. It's just fine. So it's going to go in here at number 15. Coming in at number 14 is We Bury the Dead, the Daisy Ridley zombie film that came out very early this year. If you imagine an episode of The Walking Dead that's like a bottle episode, that just follows one character and gives them a bit of a character arc. It just kind of feels like one of those, but stretched out for about 2 hours, and it works. Daisy Ridley is very, very good in this movie. One of her best acting performances that I've seen. The zombie apocalypse gets kind of pulled to the back burner to just grow her character throughout the film. And the only thing that really holds it back from being a lot better is A, just I've seen better zombie movies, but B, is that there are a few sequences in the movie that I didn't really think made that much sense, or just coherently the movie doesn't follow the most strict narrative pattern. I like the place that we begin, I like the place that we end. I wish that the zombie apocalypse was a little bit more important to the film because there's not a lot of zombie stuff going on. But regardless, it's a good zombie film, all things considered, so it's going to go in at number 14. At number 13 is going to be another zombie film, and that is This Is Not a Test. This is a very low-budget B movie. I think this is a Shudder or Independent Film Company movie. It's an adaptation of a book of the same name. The director, this is one of his first movies, I think, and it's fun. It's a fun movie. All of the reviews I've seen for this are very low, all things considered, and I thought this was actually quite a solid little budget movie. I know people tend to be very harsh on lower budget movies, but for the most part, I really like it. I thought the characters were all very interesting, and the ways that their characters unfolded were all very interesting. You follow high schoolers stuck inside of their high school as the apocalypse unfolds around them, and they have to deal with their mental health and their each other and stuff like that. And the way that they make insufferable characters but also make a lot of them lovable, and they have a lot of dynamics that are very intertwined and interesting, works out very well. And it's just a fun movie. It's a fun little zombie flick. I think more people need to watch lower budget movies because every once in a while you'll get a movie like this that I think is severely underrated. So that is going to be This Is Not a Test at number 13. Alright, coming in at number 12 is going to be Undertone, the podcast horror movie. I made an extensive video on Undertone, but my general thoughts are that there are a ton of plot holes, and the characters don't really make any sense or do anything interesting in this movie. But what saves it is the scares and the horror elements. Watching this movie twice was an interesting experience considering every other movie on here I've only seen once. And while I do think that the scares and the sound design are very well done and very scary, the caveat to that is that the plot is very weak. I kind of predicted that this is how this movie was going to play out when I had seen the trailer, where I was going to think it was very, very scary, but then the plot was just a little bit on the mediocre side. And in the case of this movie, we get a very generic horror trope plot with some good scares to balance it out. You kind of get a little bit of sinister elements, but it's way less interesting than sinister. So I don't know, I really like this movie. It's okay, it's solid, I really enjoy it, it's just not incredible, so it comes in at number 12. Coming in at number 11 is going to be Dead Man's Wire. This is a Bill Skarsgård, Zachary Montgomery leading movie based on the true story of a man who was kidnapped and held at gunpoint on a dead man's wire. This is one of my first reviews that I did, so the quality is not very good, but it is a movie that I did a bigger review on because I was very interested in it and it was very fun to watch. It's definitely a very different movie, and it's one of the only movies on here that is super memorable for its unique style. The dialogue is very awkward and quirky in this movie, and for a long time during the runtime, I thought that was kind of just a bad writing moment, but as the movie went on, I got much more interested into it, and by the end of the movie, when they were showing the real clips of stuff happening, you really get to see how the weird scripting is, because that's how they really behaved during the event, and it wasn't really tense, it was awkward during the real encounter. And it's very interesting. It's a very well done movie. There's a lot of really interesting stuff they do with camera work here, and it's just a lot of fun. So if you like either of those two leading actors, you like Coleman Domingo also, he's in this movie a lot and he's really good. If you like any of those things, definitely worth your time. If you like kind of like a biopic, I guess, or like a based on a true story, I guess is a better way to put it, go check this one out. It's definitely worth your time. Coming in at number 10 is going to be Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. I was a little disappointed in this movie. I do think it's better than average, but I was a little disappointed in this film, all things considered. Ready or Not was a very big surprise for me. I went into the original. I actually watched the original just a few weeks before this came out because I was excited for this movie and thought it was going to be pretty good from the trailer. The first movie shocked me. I really enjoyed it a lot more than I even thought I was going to, and so going into the second one, I was pretty excited, but the second one kind of just feels like the same movie again, but now you have Catherine Newton in here. The writing quality is a little bit worse, which is shocking because it's still written and directed by the same people, so I was a little confused on how the writing quality seemed to dip down. I think this is the worst of Gillette and Olpen's work. I enjoy Scream 5 and 6 and Ready or Not 1 better than this movie. The gore has been turned up a lot, the language has been turned up a lot, and I don't know, it's definitely just not the greatest movie of all time, but there are a lot of good moments here. It's still fun, it's still lighthearted and enjoyable, and it's just a fun movie. So if you like the first one, it's worth watching the second one, but I wouldn't recommend the second one outside of just completing that world. Coming in at number 9 is going to be They Will Kill You, the movie that I thought was going to literally just be reheating the nachos of Ready or Not, and then it was scheduled to come out the same day as Ready or Not 2. It got delayed for a week, and now we're here, and I enjoyed it a little bit more than Ready or Not 2. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but I like the inspiration and the style that they took. The way that I explained this movie to everyone that I talked to is, if you take Uma Thurman's character, the bride, out of Kill Bill, place her into Ready or Not, so you have her get hunted down by like a devil cult. You have that take place in a hotel that kind of looks like the one from The Shining in terms of like the way that it's designed, not really like conceptually, just the way that it looks. And then you let that movie that I just described to you be directed by a clone of Sam Raimi that ever so slightly forgot how to direct a movie. And then you get this movie. There's a lot of weird Sam Raimi / Quentin Tarantino camera work moments that go on. It's a very Kill Bill inspired movie in terms of the functionality of it and the way that it flows and it runs. But the problem with the movie that puts it a little bit lower on the list is that the writing quality, which I feel like because of how fun the directing is, the writing quality was promised to be a lot better, and it's not. The writing quality cannot reach the same standards as the directing. So you get characters that don't really have clear motivations. You get very emotional moments. You don't really get any emotion from the actual plot. And at the end of the day, you're basically just getting a hack and slash, nonstop, like, moving script. And that's about all you get here. So it's fun, it's bloody, it's lethal, it's just not incredible. So it comes in at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is going to be How to Make a Killing. This is a movie that I thought was going to be very, very high on my list, but it's just solid. This is an A24 movie with Glenn Powell in the leading role. Glenn Powell is an absolute star, I have to say that. This is not my favorite Glenn Powell movie. I enjoyed The Running Man from last year a lot more and some other stuff too, but on his track record right now, I really am liking what I'm seeing with his career, and he is a star. He is absolutely able to carry even a bad movie on his back, and here in How to Make a Killing, he does in fact carry this movie on his back. Even the other good acting performances, I still think he outshines. He is able to take this movie that would otherwise have been maybe a 5 or a 6 out of 10 to maybe a 7 or an 8, and that is very, very commendable. I enjoyed this movie simply because Glenn Powell is very good. I think the plot, while it is a little generic, is still interesting, and Glenn Powell being here is able to carry that to a different level, so it comes in at number 8. At number 7 is a movie that I thought I was not going to like, and clearly a lot of people don't like this movie, which I was shocked by because I thought this would have been a heavy hitter for a ton of people, and that is The Bride. This is Maggie Gyllenhaal's, not her directorial debut, but one of her movies. I don't know how many she has, but one of her movies. And it's basically, a good way to explain it is just a feminist approach to making Joker, or I guess maybe it's just kind of like Joker Filet-O-Deux. I don't know how to say that word. I may have just butchered the name of that, but it's kind of like that, except it's a Frankenstein's Bride retelling, and there's a lot of things I really like about it. But for everything I like, there's always that one thing I don't like, so we'll get into that. But what I really like here is I really, really enjoy the 2 acting performances. I've seen a little bit of hate towards Jessie Buckley's acting here, and I don't know how. I think Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale are both absolutely phenomenal in their roles here. I think this is some great performances by the both of them. Jake Gyllenhaal also makes an appearance here, and he's good for the time he's in, but the real stars are definitely Buckley and Bale, who just excel in this movie. The script is a little bit on the bland side. I don't love a lot of the stuff they do. A lot of the bigger ideas this movie has don't really connect with any good connective tissue. And the big issue for me is going to be the personification of Mary Shelley. I thought that was the most corny and cringe thing this movie did. And if that wasn't there, if they did something else instead of that, I could have even seen this being in my top 5 maybe, because I really enjoyed how artsy and fun this movie is. But that one thing really, really held it back for me, so that was a big negative. But overall, I give this one a positive rating, so it comes in at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is going to be Crime 101. This is what I would call the cream of the crop dad slop movie. Amazon MGM has put out 2 movies that I think are actually very, very good this year, and this is one of them. I enjoy Chris Hemsworth, Halle Berry, Barry Keoghan, and Mark Ruffalo in this film. I think all 4 of them do a pretty good job with all the material they are given. It's a very different role for all of them. It's not like MCU-ified like a lot of the movies that Hemsworth and Ruffalo appear in. It's very much its own thing, and I appreciate it and commend it for that. It's a very unique film. It has a lot of connective tissue between all of its major ideas. It never really has a dull moment where I get bored, and at the end of the day, it's a solid little crime thriller. It is a good time. I saw it in IMAX, which definitely helped a lot, but yeah, I think it's a solid movie. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Markiplier's Iron Lung. This is a bit of a hot take because I know that if you're not a big Markiplier person, you might have this one lower. But to be honest with you, not only did I enjoy the movie just because I do appreciate Markiplier and I thought it was a fun movie, but I wanted to put this one up here mainly also on principle because it's deserving of such a high placement, honestly. I think a lot of people need to take a step back and look at how impressive it is that one man was able to self-fund a movie that uses a practical submarine set on stilts. He pays for all of the blood, wrote the script himself, the movie stars himself. It follows a very interesting, unique universe. It's based on a video game that is indie and made by one person, and it's self-distributed. Markiplier didn't go through the means of getting Amazon or Shudder or the independent film company to push out his movie. He, by his own hands, pushed this movie out into theaters. And I think just for all those things alone, it's commendable and deserves a very high placement on everyone's list. But even if you really despise the movie, you have to acknowledge that those things are cool. But for me personally, not only are those things cool, but I enjoyed the movie. It definitely moves at a snail's pace sometimes. That is unavoidable. And I don't mind it either, because I have fun watching it. I think it's interesting world building, and it's just a fun movie. It's fun. It's a good movie, and I enjoyed it. So Iron Lung is going to be at number 5. I don't have much else to say about it. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Send Help. Sam Raimi came back with a bang for rated R movies and made this one. And it is not only absolutely hilarious, absolutely demented, and a little bit like a rom-com, but it is also just a really, really good movie, and it is possibly, just maybe my favorite of Sam Raimi's entire filmography. I'd have to watch it again to 100% clarify, because I don't know if I like it better than Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. I love both of those movies a lot, but right now I do say that I like it more, so I don't know. It's a bit of a toss-up right now, but it's really good. I like the setting, I like the acting. I think Dylan O'Brien and Rachel McAdams especially deliver heavy-hitting performances, some of the best acting performances that we will see this year, and it's just all around a really fun time. Sam Raimi has not lost any of his touch. I mean, I even enjoy his Doctor Strange movie just because I love his directing, but yeah, he's not lost his touch. He does a great job here, and it's definitely worth your time, so go check this one out. Coming in at number 3 is going to be 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. I've done a review on this one also, just like Send Help, just like a lot of other stuff, where I basically just gloat about it for 20 minutes. And yeah, it deserves all of it. On a, visually appealing level, it's very, very well shot. There's a lot of good allegory. It's a very unique zombie film in the sense that it doesn't really do anything that other zombie movies have done, and it takes all of the pieces that didn't really make any sense whatsoever in 28 Years Later and adapts them into a much, much more well-put, well-diverse narrative that has a very concluding note. And sometimes, after I watched it my second time especially, I started to think, why we're even going to make a trilogy off of this, because this movie's ending is so fantastic that we don't even need another movie. We've really answered all the questions and gotten everything we need out of the film. Why even make another movie? So I am excited to see what they do with this franchise. I loved this movie. I thought it was very good. Probably my second favorite zombie film of all time. But it is just very interesting to see that we're getting another one, and I wonder what they're going to do with it. Coming in at number 2 is going to be a movie that I didn't expect to get up this high, but after a lot of contemplating, it made it to my number 2 spot, and that is Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. I was not skeptical. I was very excited about this movie, actually. It was in my top 20 video, my top 20 most anticipated video, just like Bone Temple, just like Send Help. It was in that list of movies, and it was kind of towards the bottom, maybe at the very bottom. I wasn't expecting it to get up this high. I loved this movie. I thought this was a fantastic little sci-fi comedy. There's elements of time travel and artificial intelligence being like gods, and, it does a lot with the kind of ever-changing AI spectrum of the world, and it's just a really, really on-the-nose, but still really fun sci-fi comedy that absolutely is just such a fun watch. I don't know how else to put it, honestly. I'm struggling to come up with good words for it, but it is just a very fun movie to watch, and if you like sci-fi comedies, you like Sam Rockwell, you like anybody in this cast, really, or you just want to watch a comedy that feels like an original comedy, this is the one for you. It is a lot of fun, and it is worth your time, absolutely. And coming in at number 1, the best movie this year, the only movie on this entire list that I think I would watch religiously because it was that good. It's pretty, honestly, cookie cutter that this is going at the top. It's kind of a generic take because everyone's going to be putting it here. And that is Project Hail Mary. This is Ryan Gosling, one of his finest works. I love Blade Runner. That's my favorite movie of all time, Blade Runner 2049. But it's not better than that. I don't think it's better than that. But one of my other favorite movies, probably my top 20, top 25 is Drive, Ryan Gosling in Drive. I think it's better than that. I think it's better than Drive tenfold. On a filmmaking level, on a script, visual, whatever level, I think it's better than that. So with more watches, but second, third watch, this could easily break into my top 25 movies of all time. But I know that's a bland and boring take, and I come across like I'm just, another plebeian watching movies, whatever. I don't even care. I love this movie. Ryan Gosling has grown into one of, if not my favorite actor of all time, and this movie has sold me on pretty much anything he's in. So if he ever pops up in another movie, I will be there day one to watch it. And yeah, that's going to be the entire list. I don't have anything else to say about Project Hail Mary that I didn't say in my video, or you probably haven't heard on the internet from everyone else. I mean, it's fantastic. It's a great movie. To be honest with you, 2026 has been a pretty bad year for movies. Project Hail Mary lays as a big outlier in a year of pretty below par movies. I would say my top 5 are movies that I would proudly own on physical media and keep and love and cherish. And everything below that is stuff that I'm either glad that I watched and I would never ever touch again with a 10-foot pole, or stuff that I'm glad I watched and I would maybe watch it again if I was under the right circumstance. So that's going to do it. That's all of the Q1 movies I've seen. I am working on hopefully maybe a review for tomorrow. I'm seeing a secret screening. I don't know what the movie could possibly be, so I'll be making a video talking about it so you all can find out firsthand what that was. And also, the Super Mario Galaxy movie and the drama come out this week, so I'll be making videos on those hopefully. And yep, that's going to do it for me. I hope you all enjoyed. This is a much longer video than normal, so hope you all enjoyed that, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.